Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, everybody, we're here to come to your rescue, to heal you, to make you feel better, especially now during tough times. We're into 2022, still dealing with COVID and lots of stress. And Bonnie Slykehouse is here, and she's the owner of Holistic Health and Wellness, H3 Hypnosis. She can hypnotize you. She can make you feel better, Reiki sessions as well. How are you doing today, Bonnie?
I'm doing wonderful. Weekend's coming.
Weekend is coming, yes. And unfortunately, not to be negative, but during the whole COVID situation, there's so much stress, anxiety, people just feeling out of sorts now. Why do you think that is? Why haven't we recovered from this whole COVID situation?
Because it's never ending.
I guess. I guess that's when you think it's over. Hey, another strain. There we go. Let's do it.
Right. Well, if you think about it, everybody's world got flipped upside down because never have we had the whole world dealing with the same thing. So it's not like you could go somewhere and escape from it. And it's changed how people work. You know, I also work for a college, and, you know, just all of a sudden, one day we're at work, the next day we're home for the next year and a half.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we had cybersecurity issues. So there's lots of stress that people are trying to figure out how to deal with that they've never experienced before, making it very difficult.
And that's where you come into play, because I know if you try to find a therapist, a counselor, a psychiatrist, it's almost impossible because they have so many cases right now. They almost can't take any more patients. And if they can, it's going to be private pay. So you're going to pay out of pocket, not with your insurance.
Right.
So if you factor, and that's extremely valuable. I'm not minimizing, counseling or therapy at all. But if we put that to the side for a second, how can you help people with that stress and that anxiety?
So we're actually seeing more people come in for stress and anxiety than we have in the past. And it's people are just not sure how to cope. And I'm not knocking counseling, therapy, and all of that, but sometimes it doesn't go deep enough. And what I mean by that is being able to access the subconscious. Sometimes we don't know exactly why we're stressed or anxious, but it just panic attacks, it just comes over you and it's debilitating. So the nice thing about hypnosis, we bring people in, and number one, we teach them how to relax. We take them on a little mental mind journey. Two, during hypnosis, we explain that you can't have two opposing thoughts at the same time. For example, you can't be extremely sad and extremely happy at the same time. So a lot of times people, when they get stressed, they get into a cycle where I look at this thing that's negative. Maybe I see something on the news and that leads to another negative thought and another, and it's just like a spiral all the way down. So helping them to recognize it, giving them techniques to stop that, recognize the cycle and stop it, and actually change their mental thought pattern to something positive. Maybe it's breath work, but we can do a lot with hypnosis because we can give them those suggestions while they're under, and they might not remember what the suggestions are, but when they come out, they start doing them automatically.
So you talk about breath work, Bonnie. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
So we use it when we put people under as well. So breath work is, if you just calm down and focus on your breathing. And one technique my sister talks about is just putting your hand on your chest and then taking a big breath in and pushing the first finger down. Taking a deep breath in and slow letting it out, and putting the next finger down and going through all 5 fingers. And you start to really focus on taking nice, long, relaxing, deep breaths. Because when you get anxious, you're breathing faster and your mind's going 1,000 miles an hour. So just focusing on your breath helps you to pay attention, relax, and kind of let the world go away. So you're focusing on something different, but you're also lowering your heart rate, relaxing. And
that's such a simple technique, but I have to tell you, by pressing, it forces you to the next breath, because I had I have the attention span of probably a flea. So at that point where I'm supposed to be taking those breaths, I would get lost. I'm like, all right, I can't do this anymore. But this is
Yep.
controlling you, pushing you as you're pushing to take those breaths in sequence and get, time out the breath. I think that's a great technique.
Another one you can do is, with your nose, breathe in one side of your nose and breathe out the other side of your nose. So again, it's just trying to get your focus elsewhere and to get you to think about your breathing and just make it longer, deeper, more relaxed.
I advise everybody to try that. I personally can't do it because I have a deviated septum. So if I do that, I'm not going to be able to breathe. I will pass out. And you know what? Not so bad. I'll be relaxed. I'll be relaxed at that moment. But,
You'll be focusing on your breathing then.
Exactly. Not intended. Not intended. Your website, let's give it to everybody if they want to get some more insight on what you guys do.
So if you go to h3hypnosis.com, that's to our hypnosis. If you want to see our other services, it's H2 Wellness, the number 2 wellness.net. And that takes you to our massage, our Reiki, the yoga, and we're trying to put together now also some other classes, just some educational classes. We have a lot of people that are like, hey, there's this huge shift that's happening right now in the world. People's vibrations are getting higher, and there's just chaos, and everybody talks about the shift that's happening and on our planet, and trying to create classes to help people ask questions, become more aware, learn more about what's happening. And we're just starting to put those together. They probably won't happen for a few months as we start to design them, but really kicking off probably within the next 9 months.
What are the things that you can do virtually?
We can do the Reiki virtually. And again, now that I have good internet, I can do the hypnosis virtually as well. If people are local, I like to see them come in for the first time, just so that we get to know each other and it's not just all on a screen. But we do have the capability now to do virtual. I have to be able to see you, because that's part of how I know what level you're at hypnosis and if you're in and what direction to take you. So being able to have audio and video on you while you're doing a session is important.
Can you take us through that process? Because I find it fascinating that you could hypnotize somebody virtually, but would they be sitting in a chair? Would they be laying down? How would that go?
So that'd really be their choice. If they are comfortable sitting in a chair, that's fine. It's better if they have headphones so that they can, and try to find a place that's quiet without distractions. You don't have the kids running around, beating on the door, the dogs barking, those kinds of things. So I just say find a comfortable place. It might be a couch, a chair, a bed. Make sure that it's quiet, that you are going to be undisturbed for about an hour. I prefer headphones because it helps listen to me and drown out those distractions. And the video, it's just so that I can see how you're responding. If you didn't have that, I did my niece one time where my sister was actually there, so she could kind of tell me what was going on. But I would rather do it with video so that I can tell what's happening.
I'm going to ask an odd question. We didn't plan this out, but I'm wondering, is there a way that you could start the hypnosis process even with me? We're not going to, we don't have an hour. The beginning process, really?
Yeah.
I've got headphones.
How long? Okay. What do you want? Like just the initial induction part?
Yeah, just a feel for how it all begins.
Okay. So there's a lot of ways we can do it, but go ahead and just find a comfortable place. And maybe if you're sitting in a chair, having your feet flat on the floor, or a comfortable place.
So
try not to cross anything. Go ahead.
It's try not to what? Cross anything?
Yeah, like your legs, your arms.
Okay.
Your hands.
So I'm in my studio office, and my feet are on a actual. I got nothing to hide here. I'm on a box. There's a big box here, and it's almost like I'm laying half down, but I'm very comfortable. Just kind of chilling out. So for me, I'm comfortable.
Okay. So go ahead and just close your eyes, and all you have to do is listen to me. And just hypnosis is a lot about imagination. So as I talk to you, I want you to imagine breathing in peace, tranquility, and relaxation. And imagine if you could give that a color or a feeling. What might that be like? Maybe it's like little rays of light. And go ahead and take a nice deep breath in and slowly let it out. Another nice deep breath in. Slowly let it out. Now imagine those sensations of peace and relaxation and tranquility as they pass into your nostrils. Hit the back of your windpipe. Visualize them, feel them as they go down deep into your lungs. And those wonderful relaxing sensations spread out in all the nooks and crannies of your lungs, maybe like watching fireworks in a night sky, if you were to envision it. And feel yourself just listening to the sound of my voice, letting everything else just fade away as you continue to focus on your breathing in and out. And now I want you to imagine there's a wonderful, brilliant white light above your head, almost like standing outside on a warm summer day, feeling that warmth on the top of your head, drifting down along the sides of your face, relaxing your face, moving across your shoulders and your arms, your upper back, taking you all the way down, relaxing deeper, down to the tips of your fingers, through your hips and your legs, all the way down to the tips of your toes. Everything else just fades away. Just listening to the sound of my voice, and everything around you just falls away. There's no place you have to be, nothing you have to do. And just imagine yourself in a nice, comfortable garden, a grassy area where you can lay down and just relax. And you can feel the breeze on your face and your skin. Maybe there's aroma in the air. What does it feel like? What does it smell like? Maybe you can hear the birds overhead, the rustling of the wind in the trees. And just allow your imagination and this wonderful place to bring you healing and joy and peace. Continuing to breathe in and out. Feel your toes start to relax. Your feet and your legs. Every area, all the tension just fades away. Just feel it just sink deep down to the earth like water down a drain. All the negative energy that does not serve your highest good, just let it go and just relax. And know that you can go back to this place anytime you want. We call that self-hypnosis. And you simply find a comfortable place and focus on your breathing and count backwards slowly from 10 down to 1. And by the time you reach 1, you can be here and spend as much time as you need or you want. And then when you're ready, you can just count yourself up slowly, becoming more awake with each number, becoming more energized, moving up from 1, 2, feeling that energy moving back up through your feet, 3, 4, feeling so wonderful, so motivated, 4, 5, starting to wake up, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, feeling energized and wide awake, 9, and 10, eyes wide open, wide awake. And that was just a little quick one. We can go a lot farther than that, but.
Wow. Okay.
Did you see things?
I did. I was in that garden.
Did you find yourself, okay?
I'm sorry, you go first.
I was just going to say, did you feel the grass and the air on your skin?
I did. And I smelled the flowers. And I will tell you
Okay.
this, it started for me, I'm here in terms of relaxation. If this is
Uh-huh.
relaxation, I was here. I started coming down. I popped up again because I couldn't focus. And then I came back
Yep.
down again. And once I was on like the plane was on its way down, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And I could actually sense I could go into a deep trance from that point. I was at that point where, and then you brought me back out again. But your voice and the imagery was so vivid. And for me, when I want to relax, I think about the ocean. I think of, that's my thing. That's my passion. I love it. Um, Tropical. But what you just described was fantastic as well. I mean, I felt like I was in that field. I felt that grass. I heard the birds. It's pretty wild. It was almost like, and the difference is, I know that we're on camera. So for a second,
Right.
like, what's going to happen? And I'm thinking about that, but then I let that go. I just released it. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Now I'm back down here. Pretty fantastic. Wow.
So when people come in, I'll interview them and then I'll ask them, what do you like? If you were to pick a happy place, either in your mind or a real place, where would it be? And I'll say, do you like water? Because I'll use that. If they like the ocean, I'll put them on a beach and we'll go on a little beach relaxation. If they like a lake, if they like a mountainside, but I don't want to put people by water that are afraid of water.
Uh,
I don't want put people on a mountain who are afraid of heights, that kind of thing.
sure.
So I use that and then try to incorporate some of their language that they tell me in the interview. But there's a lot of ways that you can invoke relaxation, and you can do that for yourself. There's so many people that can't sleep. We're doing a high school demonstration for a psychology class next Friday, and I always ask how many kids can't sleep, and
Oh,
like all but one will raise their hand. So
my son is 15, and I can tell you straight out, last night if he's lucky, he got 5 hours of sleep. I know because he went to bed
yeah.
late, and I know he wakes up, and then I had to wake him up at 6:10 to get going, and do the math. That's barely 5 hours. Um, I can see this is very connected to meditation, but
Yeah.
I find that if I were meditating, I get to a certain point and I don't progress from that point. And it's not a bad point, but with what you're doing, you take it right into that like deeper, it's a deeper state. How did you realize that you had the ability to do that? Because I have to tell you, the way you speak, the imagery, your inflection is all part of it. It's not like you're sitting there reading a script and, just banging it out. It's, I'm feeling you as I go into that trance.
So it it comes with practice. I mean, I have another job where I'm a trainer, so voice inflection and those kinds of things. When we have students come in and we teach them about hypnosis, they're going to start out with the script,
Mhm.
uh, reading it, because it's like, okay, you have to know the language. And we talk about imagery and all the different senses. So, for example, you might have somebody come in that when you say, imagine this, or see, you have to be careful, because if they might be a person that doesn't see imagery, they just feel it or sense it. So then you have to change your terminology to sounds and feelings and sensations, rather than see this picture, see the green grass, so you're going to have to, we teach them
How
how
would
to
you
bring in
know?
all the senses.
How would you
Go
know that
ahead.
that person can't see the imagery in their head?
I usually ask them, I said, do you dream? And if they don't dream, I said, or can you imagine? Or if you were to dream, do you dream in pictures? And do you dream in color? Because, for example, I have a young woman, she's in her 30s, that came in and she does not see pictures. So I had to change the language. And I usually try to use all of the senses, so that if you don't connect with this one, you're going to connect with a different sense. But the smell, the aromas, the feeling of the grass, the sound of the waves, the whatever it might be. Um, It's just interesting because you try again, tailor it to each person. But we teach the students to come in and we give them a script and then they have to write their own. But we teach them how to bring in what, you're painting a picture for these people. Describe the picture. How do they know what it feels like, sounds like? So we make them do all of the senses.
I think that's a great idea too. When you have a student and the student kind of tailors the script to them, because maybe my description of imagery might be different than yours, and you want it to come from within instead of just kind of phoning it in. I felt you again, like as you're speaking it, I'm feeling your energy, your just the way you're presenting it. I got it. Like it resonated inside, and that's kind of I think what brought me down to that state. Now, question.
Okay.
I say I was here. I started up here. If we were to go longer, how much lower into a trance state or a hypnotic state would I have been?
I would have actually done some deepeners with you. So what I mean by a deepener is you're here, and usually we'll have people, a common one is you have to take them down steps and they relax, double their relaxation with each step down. But at the same token, as you're giving them those deepening, so let's say I'm going to have you go down steps and you're going to double your relaxation with each step. I'm not going to tell you what this step looks like. You get to create that in your own mind. I'm going to have you pay attention to it. Maybe you walk down, maybe you float down, maybe you're just down. I don't know. Because when I start, if I were too specific, you would say, yeah, that's not what I see. And then you get distracted and that kind of thing.
I can tell you this based on the way I was feeling and just almost sleeping. I would probably fall down the steps at that point.
You're going to float down the steps.
The float, yes, that,
Yeah, you just kind of land at the bottom on a nice, comfortable cloud or something. So
I don't know if you remember, there's a Bugs Bunny episode where he goes to a castle, and I think it's a bottle of ether that gets opened, and he's floating just like you described down some steps, and it's just like, again, that's my imagery, that's mine.
Yeah.
But that's what I see.
That's great.
Yeah. Wow, that was fantastic.
I love listening, asking people what they see, because everybody sees things differently. And it's so funny because some people go so deep that you'll watch them, and I have a reclining chair. And sometimes you'll get people that their hands will actually start levitating and their feet will levitate because they feel like they're floating. And they'll tell you that. They're like, I was floating. I mean, that's a common thing. But some of them, their hands actually do come up off the chair.
Crazy. So now when they're in that state, you got them in and they're hypnotized. Is that where you start feeding certain things? So let's say it's, to stop smoking, you start speaking about that, Give me an example. We have a couple of minutes. Give an example of what you would say, pick any topic, you're helping somebody stop smoking. What would you do?
So I probably give them suggestions about, the taste of it. So I'll ask them before we ever go into a session, what's something that you absolutely can't stand? Liver and onions is a common one, or Brussels sprouts, or whatever it might be. Or, or think about the first time you ever smoked a cigarette, and they all tell you it tasted awful. And so you'll bring that so that anytime they taste it, it'll taste awful. Maybe you give them a suggestion that they can't get the cigarette or whatever they're smoking to their mouth. A lot of smoking, if you think about it, it's like taking deep breaths in. So they say smoking relaxes you, but really it's a stimulant. What's relaxing them is they're taking those deep breaths in and out. So I'll give them suggestions about anytime you get that craving, you'll stop and take 3 deep breaths in or out. I might have them do this. I might have them just do the anchor where they put their thumb and forefinger together, take 3 deep breaths in and out. And sometimes they might not even realize that they're doing it. And as they do this, I'll give them a suggestion that all of those cravings disappear or subside or whatever it might be.
So cool. And I'm fresh to this. Of course, we've heard about hypnosis, but never experienced it. I've never even seen it done except on TV, just as a goof, which I know you guys do for fun. But when it comes to the serious stuff, I can honestly see how you can help people when you bring them into that state, because you got them. Like now, it's like the captive audience at that point.
It is. And when they sit down in the chair, it's funny because I'll do the induction. And when I say I need to see you, it's so funny because they'll get to a point where they might just do just a little, and it's like, got them where I need them,
Yeah.
and I'll do a little test to see if they can open their eyes. And it's funny because that's a convincer. And I'll tell them that their eyes are so heavy and just so relaxed, they won't be able to open them no matter how hard they try. And they're sitting there doing, I can't get them open. And then they come out and they're like, I couldn't get my eyes open. It was the weirdest thing.
And I was wondering what I was doing at that point. There was, maybe the 3/4 point of what you just did. I was thinking, well, how does this look on camera? Like, and I was like, I don't really care. It feels too good.
Right. So people that are in hypnosis, they are so relaxed that they just don't really care.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you're coming for the first time, you might think, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? Oh, she said, do this, and I'm not sure. And so I'll do suggestions like, if you think you're doing this right, you absolutely are. Let that thought just fade away and just allow your mind to relax. And so there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes in there. And sometimes it might not even make sense to the person, but it's all in metaphors. And
yeah. What would you say?
I enjoy it.
Oh, I enjoyed it. Trust me. What is the top 3 things that you help people out with when it comes to hypnosis?
So because I work for a college, we get a lot of nursing students that can't pass their boards or have problems with test anxiety. That is huge.
Wow.
And, I'll see them once or twice most often. And, I had a gal that couldn't pass her board. She tried 4 times, was out of college for a couple years selling hot tubs, hated it, hated her life. And then the instructor that she had contacted me and said, hey, I'm looking for anything. Can you help this girl? So I saw her twice. And of course, she did her own studying again and went and passed her boards, got a dream job working in an OB unit. So I've done a lot of students, chiropractors can't pass their boards, high school kids that just have anxiety. So anxiety and stress right now are probably the biggest ones that I'm dealing with.
So we have a minute left, but I'm going to share with you. I had dinner with my daughter last night and she failed her boards.
Oh,
I'm not kidding.
Never call me.
Yes. Yes. I can't wait to tell her about that. And, she's pretty good on the anxiety thing, but you're always going to have you taking a test. It's, you're going to be stressed out.
You have to study. I tell them, I said, you can't come and think hypnosis is going to magically make you learn something that you didn't prepare for.
Yep.
But if you studied, everything that you ever learned is in your mind. It's just, we teach them how to access it and feel calm about it.
Exactly. Because the block is the anxiety and the information can't flow out. Yeah.
Exactly.
And she's a great student. It's just, maybe it's anxiety.
That's usually the case.
Yeah. Bonnie Sighthouse, great talking to you. Holistic Health and Wellness Center. And you guys do so much. Reiki, hypnosis. If you are stressed out, you have anxiety, give us your website again.
H3hypnosis.com or H2wellness.net.
.net. Great talking to you again, Bonnie. And thanks for making me relax. I needed that.
Yeah, good. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And you too. And I'm sure a lot of other people do too. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.